My daughter walked through the door and stopped moving. I was sitting in the cold garage, so hungry with marks on my arms like a forgotten toy in the corner. "Mom, what happened? Why are you out here? You get $7,000 every month from your job," she said with big, worried eyes. Then my daughter-in-law ran out from inside the house, speaking loudly. "That money is mine now. I take everything." My daughter took off her watch, and what she did next was amazing. Before we keep going, please hit the like button and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. The hard floor felt cold through my old blanket under me. I opened my eyes to see a little bit of light coming through the garage window. Tiny pieces of dust were flying in the sunshine. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments what time it is where you are watching from now. We might give you a shout out in our next video. Today's shout out goes to Sandra Thornton from Westwego. Thank you for being part of this great family. Now let me tell you what happened that day. I'm 68 years old. I worked as a nurse for 40 years now. I was waking up like a stray cat in my own garage. My right arm hurt where Vanessa had pushed me the day before. Not hard enough to break my bones. She was smart about that, but hard enough to make me remember who was the boss. Got up slowly. My body made cracking sounds. I pulled the rough blanket around me. Through the tiny window that looked at the kitchen, I could see them. Vanessa sat at my table, her dark hair shiny and perfect, eating pancakes from my special plates. My son, David, sat next to her, his eyes looking down at his phone like it had all the answers in the world. My son, my sweet boy, who used to hug me tight after bad dreams, who asked me to sing one more song before bedtime. He wouldn't look toward the garage. He hadn't looked at me in many days. My stomach made hungry noises. Yesterday I ate 4 small cookies. The water from the garage sink tasted like old metal, but it made my empty belly feel a bit better. I stood up carefully, making sure I wouldn't fall, and walked toward the kitchen door. My hand reached for the handle. The door opened before I could touch it. Vanessa stood there tall and looking down at me. Her eyes were cold and empty. "I just need some water," I said quietly. My voice sounded weak. "Just water, Vanessa. People who live in garages don't get to use the kitchen." She crossed her arms. "That's the rule. You know the rule, Vanessa." I looked past her to David. He was still staring at his phone, moving his finger up and down on the screen. "David, honey." He didn't lift his head. "Vanessa's right. You should go back, Mom." "Not Mommy. Not Mama. Just Mom," said in that flat, empty voice he'd been using for 2 weeks since they made me move out here. The cold way he said it hurt more than Vanessa's push yesterday. Vanessa's mouth made a mean smile. "Oh, and your pension money came yesterday. Don't worry, I'm taking care of everything just fine." He closed the door. I heard the lock click. I stood there for a moment, my hands still up in the air, then turned back to my mattress. My fingers closed into tight fists, then opened, closed again. The angry feeling was there, small but bright like a tiny light in the dark. The old phone sat on the hard floor next to my pillow. I kept it for emergencies after my nice smartphone went missing 10 days ago. Vanessa said she took it to pay the phone bill. I picked it up with shaking hands and looked at the text from the bank. The computer system I set up months ago when I still controlled my own money. Money taken out. $7,000. Money left. $723. My whole pension payment gone. I sat on the mattress and stared at the numbers until my eyes got blurry. On the wall across from me, my old nurse uniform hung from a nail. The white fabric, the name tag that caught the weak light, the patches from Memorial Hospital where I worked my last 15 years. That uniform had seen sick people get better. Smelled like medicine and soap and helping people. Now it watched me sleep on a garage floor. I trusted Vanessa. That was my first big mistake. 3 months ago when she said she'd help me with my money stuff, I thought she was being nice and helpful. A good daughter-in-law helping her retired mother-in-law pay the bills. I signed the papers without reading them very carefully. David smiled and called me a great mom. Vanessa shook my hand. The trap was already set. I just didn't know it yet. Through the window, I watched Vanessa laugh at something on the TV. My TV in my living room. She moved all my furniture last week. She pushed my favorite chair into a corner and brought in a new couch I'd never seen before. Paid for with my credit card. I think everything was paid for with my money now. I looked down at the old phone again. Rachel's number was the only one saved in it. My daughter living 2 hours away in Boston with her husband and children. I hadn't talked to her in 3 months. Vanessa took my smartphone before I could call her. This old phone had no minutes left. The robot voice told me that yesterday when I tried. Not enough money to make calls. Please add money. But I had no money. Vanessa had everything. I put the phone down and walked back to the window. My face looked back at me from the glass. Skinnier than before. Gray hair messy. Marks on my arm turning yellow and purple. An old woman. Sad woman. But something in my chest had changed. The tiny light was getting bigger. I spent 40 years taking care of sick people when everyone else was scared. Carried heavy patients down hallways. I stood next to doctors during emergencies and stayed calm and helped people live. The hospital gave me 17 special awards. The mayor hugged me at my retirement party. And now I was sleeping in a garage, begging for water, watching a woman steal my life piece by piece. Vanessa thought I was broken. She thought she won. I touched the name tag on my uniform. Felt the cool plastic under my fingers. Sometimes when things are bad you have to step back, think, find another way. Sometimes you look trapped, but you're really just waiting for the right time to move. I turned from the window and sat back on the mattress. The old phone lay next to me, useless. My pension was gone. My home was taken. My son wouldn't look at me. But I wasn't finished. I needed to understand exactly how I got here. When did the trap close? Where did I miss the warning signs? I closed my eyes and made myself remember step by careful step how a nurse who helped people became a prisoner in her own garage. The memories came slowly like walking through mud, but they came. I sat on that mattress for a long time, making myself go back through the months. My hands held the edge of the thin blanket until my knuckles turned white. The truth was there waiting. I just had to stop being scared of it. 6 months ago everything was okay. I've been living alone since my husband Richard died 4 years ago. Getting along just fine. The pension covered everything. House paid for, bills okay, even some leftover for the grandkids' birthday presents. Then David called. He and Vanessa lost their apartment. Something about not paying rent. A fight with the apartment owner. Could they stay with me just for a little while, just until they got back on their feet? I said yes right away. He was my son. What else would a mother do? They moved in with 2 suitcases and lots of promises. Vanessa would find a job soon. David was looking for work. They'd be gone in 2 months, 3 at most. I set them up in the guest room and spare bedroom. Told them to feel comfortable and at home. Vanessa started talking about money things. Within a week, the memory came clear now, sharp like broken glass. 3 months ago, June, we were sitting at the kitchen table after dinner. David was washing dishes, humming a song. Vanessa had a folder of papers printed from the computer I let her use. Eleanor, she said, friendly and helpful. I've been thinking. You're doing a lot here. Bills, insurance, the pension payments. What if I helped? Took some of that work off your hands. I'd been tired. I'd spent the afternoon pulling weeds in the hot sun. I appreciate it, Vanessa, but I can handle it. I know you can. She opened the folder. But what if something happens? What if you get sick or forget to pay something? With power of attorney, I can handle everything. You just relax. Enjoy being retired. I frowned at the papers. Big words, lots of paragraphs. Power of attorney. That sounds serious. It's normal. Limited power of attorney just for banking to make things easier. She clicked a pen, put it on the first line where I should sign. You keep control of everything important. David came over then, put a cup of tea next to me. Kissed my cheek. Mom, Vanessa's really good with money. It'll be easier for everyone. You sure this is normal for family helping family? Absolutely. Vanessa smiled. My aunt did the same thing with my grandmother. Made everything smoother. I signed 3 pages, 6 places for my signature, letters in 4 places. Vanessa pointed to each spot. I signed without reading the small words. Why would I need to? She was family. The trap was set for a while. Nothing changed. Bills got paid. My pension came like always. Vanessa said she moved everything to a joint account for easier management. But I had access. If I needed cash, I could ask. No problem. 6 weeks passed before I saw the problem. The memory moved forward. Late July. I was opening mail at the kitchen table. Mostly junk. Some magazines. Then the bank statement. I opened it because I always did. Stared at the number. $312. That couldn't be right. My pension was $7,000 every month. Even with bills, there should be thousands left. Called the bank. The woman on the phone was polite and patient. Yes, Mrs. Hayes. Your pension is being put in directly. No, not to this account anymore. It's going to a different account. The joint account ending in 5847. Set up 2 months ago. I found Vanessa in the living room watching TV. Vanessa, I need to talk to you about the bank accounts. She barely looked up. What about them? My pension. It's going to some other account. The woman at the bank said joint account. Oh, that's the one I set up. More efficient. She reached for the remote. Changed the channel. Don't worry about it. But I need to use my money. You have access. I'll give you cash when you need it. She looked at me then. Something in her eyes was different. Harder. It's better this way, Eleanor. Trust me. The alarm bells started ringing, then quiet at first, but there I started watching more carefully after that. Noticed the new laptop that appeared in the spare bedroom, the expensive dinners Vanessa brought home, food I couldn't afford, the leather purse David carried, tags still on it, $300 visible. When the credit card statement came sent from the joint account, I saw it all: electronics, restaurants, clothing, furniture. Thousands of dollars, my thousands. 1 month ago I told her how I felt. The memory burned now. Made my hands shake, even sitting in the garage. I waited until David was at the grocery store. Vanessa was in my chair, feet up, drinking my special coffee. Vanessa, where's my pension? I was holding the bank statements. 6 of them marked with yellow marker. The account is empty. Where's my money? She put down the coffee slowly. Our money. You signed it over. I'm managing it the right way. Managing it? You're stealing it. My voice got louder. I never agreed to this. I signed papers to help. Not for you too. She stood up fast. Suddenly she was close, using her height, her size. I stepped back without thinking. You signed the papers, she said. Voice cold like ice. It's legal. Power of attorney means I control the accounts. And if you make trouble, Eleanor, I'll have you declared not able to take care of yourself. You're old. You forget things. You're clearly not able to manage your own life. Nursing home. Think about it. The push came then. Not a hit that would leave marks people would ask about. Just her hand against my chest. Hard enough to send me falling backward into the wall. My arm hit first. The same arm that hurt. Now David came home 10 minutes later. He saw me holding my arm. Saw Vanessa sitting calmly with her coffee. He looked at me, looked at Vanessa, said nothing. That's when I knew he was part of it. Not forced, not tricked, part of it. 2 weeks ago they stopped pretending. Vanessa called me into the dining room like I was a worker she hired. David was there, silent, hands folded. New arrangement. Vanessa said. You're using too much space in the house. The garage has everything you need. Mattress, sink, toilet. You stay out here unless you have permission to come in. I started to argue. She cut me off. Your choice, Eleanor. Garage or I call social services and have you checked for dementia. I moved my mattress that night. Carried it through the kitchen while they watched TV. Now sitting in the August heat with a dead phone in my hand. The full picture was clear. Every piece, every step of the trap. For weeks, I'd been thinking like a victim. Trap, helpless, scared. But victims don't survive emergencies. Nurses do. And nurses don't panic. They plan. They find the exits. They know where the problems are. They wait for the right moment. I stood and walked to my uniform. Touched the name tag again. Remembered that sometimes you have to step back to move forward. Sometimes you look beaten, but you're getting ready for the next move. Vanessa thought she won. Thought I was broken. She was wrong. I looked at my face in the garage window. Older, thinner, bruised. But my eyes were different now. Harder, clearer. I couldn't call Rachel. Not yet. Not without a real phone. But Vanessa had given me something important. 2 weeks in this garage watching them through that window. I'd learned their patterns, their routines. When Vanessa left for her afternoon walks, when David took his long showers, where they kept the spare keys, how the house sounded when they slept, I learned something else too. I wasn't done fighting. Not even close. The next day something changed. Something Vanessa didn't expect. Friday evening. The garage had that special kind of quiet. Not peaceful, just empty. I sat on the old wooden chair I pulled from the corner, watching shadows get longer through the window. My back was different now. Fraider. The bruise under my right eye had turned yellow and purple. 2 days old from Vanessa's accidental elbow. But something inside me had changed since yesterday's memories. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was waiting. Then I heard it. The specific sound of Rachel's Toyota. The one with the slightly loud engine she kept meaning to fix. My heart jumped in my chest. Hope and fear crashed together like waves. Not now. Not like this. She couldn't see me like this. But the engine stopped. Car door slammed. Footsteps on the driveway. Through the small window. I watched the house. Couldn't see the front door from here. But I heard it open. Heard Rachel's voice warm and not knowing. Hey, anyone home? Where's Mom? Was then Vanessa too quickly. Voice wrong. Rachel, we didn't know you were coming. Your mom, she's in the garage working on something. David's voice came out. Casual but protective of his territory. Rachel, long time. I stood slowly, hands shaking. Part of me wanted to call out, warn her somehow. Another part wanted to hide. Keep pretending everything was fine. Protect my daughter from the truth. But my legs wouldn't move either way. Where's the garage? Rachel asked. She knew where it was. She grew up in this house. The question was a challenge. Footsteps came closer. The garage door opened wide. Light from the house flooded in. Rachel's shape filled the doorway. Taller than I remembered. Stronger. Her face came out of the backlight. I watched the feelings move across her face. Confused, scared. Her eyes found mine, then looked down at the bruise. The mattress on the hard floor, the single thin blanket. Her voice cracked a little. Mom, what happened to your face? I couldn't speak, couldn't make words. Just stood there like something in a zoo. She crossed the space in 3 big steps, held my shoulder. You're living in the garage. Why are you living in the garage? You have a pension. $7,000 every month. Rachel, my throat was dry. You shouldn't have come. $7,000. Mom, where is it? It's complicated, sweetheart. Vanessa appeared in the doorway then, chest puffed up, filling the space with her sighs. That smug look I'd come to know so well. Not complicated at all, Vanessa said. That pension belongs to me now. Control everything. Your mother signed the papers. Rachel turned slowly, stood to her full height. Excuse me. Power of attorney. All legal. Vanessa stepped into the garage like she owned it, which in her mind she did. She signed it over. The money's mine. The house is mine. Well, it will be. And this. She pointed at the mattress at me. This is where she lives now. House rules. From the doorway, David's voice came weakly. Vanessa, maybe we should shut up, David. Vanessa didn't even look at him. Your sister needs to understand how things work here. Rachel's jaw got tight. Her hand moved to her wrist to the watch there. Rolex, silver and shiny, catching the light. Seen it before. Christmas 2 years ago. She'd been so proud of it. Company gift for doing great work. 3 years running. She unhooked it. The click was loud in the quiet. It sat in her hand for a moment. Then she put it down on the dusty workbench very carefully. This watch is a Rolex. Rachel said each word slow and cold. Company gave it to me for doing great work. 3 years running. Worth about $8,000. She looked at Vanessa. Take it. Vanessa blinked. What? Take the watch. Take it and walk out of this house right now before I make a phone call you won't like. The watch sat between them on the workbench. $8,000 in silver and craftsmanship. Sitting on dust and old oil stains. Vanessa stared at it. Then at Rachel, then at the watch again. Her face went through thoughts, wanting it, not trusting it, getting angry. Behind her, David had gone pale. One hand pressed to the door frame to hold himself up. Take it, Rachel said again. Last chance. Vanessa's mouth made that smile again. The one that said she'd already won. She reached down, picked up the watch, turned it over in her thick hands. Nice watch, she said, putting it back down. But why would I take 8,000 when I've got 7,000 coming in every month for free? Rachel's voice stayed calm. That pension isn't yours. It's now. Power of attorney, kid. All legal. Vanessa crossed her arms. Confident. You want to call the cops? Go ahead. They'll tell you the same thing. Your old mom signed it over. Her choice. Rachel's hand went into her pocket, pulled out her smartphone. Vanessa's smile got bigger. Be my guest, Vanessa said. They won't do anything. I've got the paperwork. The pension gets put into my account. His house. Once I get her declared incompetent, it'll be mine too. And she lives in the garage because those are the rules now. My rules. I watched Rachel's face, watched something change behind her eyes. She held the phone casually, angled away from Vanessa. Her thumb moved across the screen, but she didn't raise it to her ear. You're forcing her to live out here, Rachel said quietly. Not a question. Prompt to get Vanessa talking. Forcing. Vanessa laughed. She's free to leave anytime. Find herself a nice nursing home. State-run place for incompetent old people. That's her other option. And you're spending her pension. My pension now. Legally moved. Like I said, paperwork's all good. David made a sound from the doorway, almost like crying. Vanessa, maybe we should just. Rachel didn't look at him. Her voice went cold. Don't. Not one word, David. Rachel, you don't understand. We needed. I'll talk to you later. Rachel's eyes never left Vanessa right now. I'm getting Mom out of here. Vanessa stepped forward. She's not going anywhere. This is her home. Rachel moved to my side. Put a gentle hand on my shoulder. Mom, get up. We're leaving. I stood. My legs felt weak. But Rachel's hand made me steady. Vanessa blocked the door. You can't just. Rachel's voice carried something I'd never heard before. Not anger. Something colder than that. Power. Vanessa, stop. For the first time since this started, I saw doubt move across her face. Then she stepped to the side. Rachel guided me past her, past David, who pressed himself against the wall through the house that used to be mine. I didn't look at the furniture, the rearranged rooms, the life they built with my money. Just kept walking. Rachel's hand steady on my shoulder until we got to her car. She opened the passenger door, helped me in like I was fragile. Maybe I was. We pulled out of the driveway. I watched the house get smaller in the side mirror. Vanessa stood in the doorway, arms crossed, still wearing that confident smile. She had no idea what Rachel had just done. The car felt like a different world. Clean, warm. I sat in the passenger seat, hands folded in my lap, watching the city go past the window. Evening lights coming on. People in their houses living normal lives. You shouldn't have seen that, I said finally. Rachel's hands held the steering wheel tight. Her jaw was tight too. How long, Mom? How long has this been happening? 3 months since the papers. 2 weeks in the garage. The bruise. I touched my eye without thinking. 2 days ago. She gets angry when I ask questions about the money. The muscles in Rachel's jaw worked. She said nothing else until we pulled into a Hampton Inn parking lot. Got out, came around, opened my door like I might break if handled wrong. We walked to the front desk together. She paid with a work credit card, told the desk person visiting family. Got 2 key cards. The elevator ride was silent. The hallway was silent. She unlocked room 318. Held the door. 2 beds. Clean white sheets. Bathroom with actual hot water. I stood in the middle of the room and felt something crack inside my chest. Sit down, Mom. Rachel pulled out the desk chair. I'm ordering food. She called room service. Ordered more food than 2 people could eat. Chicken, mashed potatoes, green beans, salad, bread. When I started to say the cost was too much, she just shook her head. The food came 20 minutes later. Rachel put it out on the desk, handed me a fork and knife. I looked at the chicken. Cooked just right. Steam rising. My hands started shaking. When did you last eat, Mom? Rachel asked quietly. Yesterday. For cookies. She watched me cut the first piece. Watched me chew slowly, carefully, like someone who forgot what being full felt like. Didn't say anything. Just watched with a look that made my chest hurt worse than hunger ever had. I ate half the chicken before I had to stop. My stomach had gotten smaller. Rachel wrapped the rest, put it in the mini fridge for later. Then she pulled out a notepad from her laptop bag, clicked a pen, sat across from me with a business air of someone starting a work project. Tell me everything, she said. From the beginning. When did Vanessa first suggest the power of attorney? So I told her early May, Vanessa's friendly offer. The papers at the kitchen table. David's encouraging smile. My signature on papers I barely read. Rachel took notes, asked specific questions, amounts, exact words from conversations. She handled it like a work problem, gather information, find patterns, find weak spots. The exact words, she said. Did Vanessa say limited power of attorney? Limited to banking. She said I'd keep control of everything else, but she moved the pension. All of it. $7,500 a month for 3 months. $22,500. Rachel wrote the number down, drew a circle around it. Has she hurt you? Besides the physical part, nursing home. She says she'll have me declared senile, incompetent. Says I'll die in a state place. The pen stopped moving. Rachel looked up. Something dangerous appeared behind her eyes, then disappeared back into professional calm. This is elder financial abuse, she said. Pennsylvania has specific laws. Illegal eviction too. You own that house, right? Paid off 15 years ago. Deeds in my name. Then she did a crime. Multiple crimes. I shook my head. She has the legal papers. Rachel. Papers gotten through pressure aren't valid, Rachel said. And financial exploitation of an elderly person is a felony in Pennsylvania. Rachel flipped to a new page. We need a lawyer who specializes in elder law. I can't afford. She met my eyes. Mom, this is what I do. Solve complex work problems. This is just another system to figure out. And Vanessa made a mistake tonight. What mistake? Her mouth curved a little. Not quite a smile. She confessed everything on recording. I stared at her. You recorded her. She pulled out her phone, tapped the screen. Vanessa's voice filled the room. That pension belongs to me now. Control everything. Your mother signed the papers. The pension gets put into my account. This house. Once I get her declared incompetent, it'll be mine too. And she lives in the garage because those are the rules now. My rules. Rachel stopped the playback. Pennsylvania is a one-party consent state. Completely legal to record conversations you're part of. She confessed to financial control, illegal eviction, physical intimidation. That recording is proof. For the first time in months I felt something like hope. We talked until midnight. Rachel made more notes, built timelines, wrote down steps, legal meeting, papers, medical records for the bruises, financial records for the theft, cancel the power of attorney, file charges, protective orders. She broke it down like a work plan, goals, resources, timeline, problems. Watching her work, I saw the successful woman she'd become. Organized, thorough, unshakable. Finally tired, we both lay down in our beds. The room went dark. I heard Rachel breathing in the other bed. Awake like I was. Thank you, I said into the darkness. We're gonna fix this, Mom. All of it. I believed her. Morning came too fast. Rachel's alarm went off at 6 o'clock. I showered, checked us out by 7. We stood in the parking lot next to her car. Neither quite ready to say goodbye. I have to go back to Boston, she said. Work, but I'll be back Friday. 1 week. He nodded. And I go back to the garage. Her face twisted. Mom, you can stay here. I'll pay for the room all week. You don't have to, Mom. I put a hand on her arm. Go back. If I disappear, Vanessa might do something crazy. Destroy proof. Run. But if I'm there in the garage, she'll think she won. She'll think you gave up. You're sure? 40 years taking care of sick people taught me something. Sometimes you have to go back into the danger to get what you need. I'll be okay for 1 week and I'll be watching her, learning her patterns. Rachel pulled something from her pocket. Phone. Basic burner phone. My number's saved in it. If anything happens, anything you call me. Took it. Where do I hide it? Somewhere she won't think to look. I thought of my nurse jacket. The inside part had a small rip. Perfect. Rachel hugged me, held on longer than necessary. 1 week, Mom. Promise. Promise. I watched her drive away, stood in that parking lot until her car disappeared around the corner. Then I walked back toward the house, toward the garage. My steps were steady. Vanessa and David were watching from the living room window when I got there. I saw the curtain move. Saw Vanessa's face. That satisfied smirk back in place. She thought I tried to escape and failed. Thought Rachel had left me. She was wrong about both. I walked into the garage, lay down on the mattress, stared at the ceiling, put my hand in my pocket, felt the burner phone there. Solid. Real. 1 week. Could survive. 1 week. I'd survived worse, and this time I wasn't surviving alone. Rachel texted when she got back to Boston. Made it. Starting lawyer search tomorrow. Hang tight. Another text. Found 3 elder law specialists calling Monday. Daily messages after that. Short messages, but each one a lifeline. Vanessa noticed I was calmer. It bothered her. Monday, she searched the garage while I was using the house bathroom. Privilege given 10 minutes a day. I watched from the window after as she went through my few things, looking for money for a phone for whatever Rachel might have left. She found nothing. The burner was inside my nurse jacket's lining. 40 years of emergency training pays off. You learn to hide things where no one thinks to look. By Wednesday, Vanessa was suspicious. Kept watching me through the kitchen window, trying to understand why I wasn't begging anymore, why I wasn't crying. By Thursday, she was paranoid. Friday, the day Rachel was supposed to return, couldn't come fast enough. Monday morning, I woke before the sun. Old nurse habit. Internal alarm clock never quite shuts off. The garage was dark and cold. I reached into my jacket lining where the phone sat hidden. My hands didn't shake anymore. I had work to do. Rachel had called Sunday night from Boston. Short, careful. Mom, write down everything. Photos, amounts. The lawyer needs proof. So that's what I did. I took pictures of the mattress first, then the hard floor, the no heat, the single blanket that did nothing against the cold, the water sink with rust marks, the view from my window toward the house where Vanessa and David lived their comfortable life on my money. In a dusty corner, I found an old notebook, spiral binding, half the pages still blank. I started writing. May 8th, Vanessa suggested power of attorney said just for convenience. May 10th, signed papers at kitchen table. David there smiling. June 15th, discovered pension moved to different account. $7,500 missing. The dates came easier than I expected. Nurse training again. We wrote down everything. Every patient, every medicine, every problem. Turned out financial abuse had the same shape as any other emergency. Timeline. Proof. Witnesses. Through the garage window I watched Tuesday happen. A delivery truck came around noon. 2 men carried a huge box toward the front door. 70 inches TV. The words visible even from where I was. Vanessa directed them like a homeowner. Bossy movements. Satisfied smile. I took pictures through the window. Wasn't perfect but good enough. Timestamp, clear picture. Later that afternoon the car appeared. Brand new Honda Accord, shining red. Temporary dealer tags visible. Vanessa and David walked around it looking happy. She'd bought it without selling the old car. Just added a second car to what she owned. My car, my pension money, $28,000 of my retirement money and counting. I took more pictures. The car from different sides. Vanessa loading grocery bags from the back. Expensive wine bottles visible. Fancy brands I recognized from my own better days. Tuesday night Rachel called. The lawyer's name is Catherine Daniels. She works with Elder Law. We're meeting Wednesday at 3. Coffee shop on Market Street. That little place near the library. Can you get there? I'll tell Vanessa I'm taking a walk. Be careful, Mom. Wednesday morning Vanessa was watching me. I felt her eyes through the kitchen window as I sat on the garage chair, pretending to read an old magazine I found. Around 2 I stood stretched, made a show of needing to move. Going for a walk I called toward the house, get some fresh air. No answer, just that feeling of being watched. I walked 6 blocks to the coffee shop. The world outside my garage felt strange. Normal people doing normal things, buying coffee, laughing at phones, living lives that didn't include sleeping on garage floors. Rachel was already there. Corner table. The woman next to her was mid-50s. Professional dark suit. Leather briefcase on the table. She stood when I came close. Put out her hand. Mrs. Hayes, I'm Catherine Daniels. Rachel told me about your situation. Before we start, I need to hear it directly from you. Everything that happened. I sat down, took a breath. Where do I start? Start with the power of attorney. When did Vanessa first talk about it? So I told her the whole timeline. The friendly offer that became a trap. The papers I signed without reading carefully enough. The slow theft of my pension, my independence, my home, the physical pushing, the garage. Catherine took notes, quick handwriting, sometimes stopping me to make dates or amounts clearer. She had the focused look of someone who'd seen these cases before and knew exactly what mattered. When I finished, she pulled out a tablet, connected headphones, pressed play. Vanessa's voice filled the tiny space between us. That pension belongs to me now. Control everything. Your mother signed the papers. The pension gets put into my account. His house. Once I get her declared incompetent, it'll be mine too. She stopped it, took off the headphones, looked at me directly. Mrs. Hayes, Pennsylvania law is very clear on this. Financial exploitation of a person over 60 is a felony. If you can prove the power of attorney was gotten through pressure, and that recording certainly suggests it was, the paper is voidable. But Vanessa says it's legal. She says the police won't help. She's wrong. Catherine pulled papers from her briefcase. What she's done is elder financial abuse. Pennsylvania takes it seriously. Also, making you leave your own home. That's illegal detention and property theft. So we can stop her, but more importantly we can charge her with crimes. The word hung in the air. Crimes. Rachel leaned forward. Tell her about your writing, Mom. I showed her the notebook timeline, the amounts, the specific dates and things that happened. Catherine studied each page, nodding. This is excellent. Specific. This will be powerful in court. She looked up. You were a nurse. 40 years Memorial Hospital. That training is saving you now. She looked through the photos on the burner phone Rachel had shown her. These pictures, your living conditions, clear proof combined with a recording. She put down the phone. Mrs. Hayes, we have a strong case. But we need one more thing. What? Medical papers, the bruises, the weight loss. We need a doctor to examine and write down everything officially. Can you do that? When? Tomorrow if possible. The fresher the papers, the better. We talked for another hour. Catherine wrote down the legal steps. Cancel the power of attorney. File for protective orders. Go after criminal charges. Get back the stolen pension. Each step precise, organized, doable. I'd spent 3 months feeling helpless. 40 minutes with Catherine Daniels and I had a plan. When we left, Rachel walked me partway back. Stopped at the corner 2 blocks from the house. You okay, Mom? I'm okay. She hugged me. 1 more week, maybe less. I walked the last 2 blocks alone. Something felt wrong before I even turned onto my street. Vanessa's car was parked crooked in the driveway, like she'd been in a hurry. The garage door was a little bit open. I always closed it all the way. My hand went to my jacket pocket, touched the outline of the burner phone, still there, but something had changed. I could feel it. I pushed open the garage door. Vanessa sat on my workbench, legs hanging, holding something in her hand. As my eyes got used to the dim light, I saw what it was. Pieces of a phone. Phone just like the one in my pocket. My hand flew to my jacket. The pocket was empty. The lining torn open. She'd found it. My mattress was flipped over. The nurse jacket lay crumpled on the hard floor. Its inside part ripped. My few things scattered across the floor. She'd torn the place apart. Vanessa held up the broken phone. Screen hanging in pieces. Her smile was winning. "What's this, Eleanor? Where'd you get a phone?" I made my voice small. "Rachel gave it to me just to call her sometimes." "Rachel gave it to you. Rachel who took you away last week. Rachel who thinks she can interfere." She got off the workbench, used her height to stand over me. "Who have you been talking to?" "Just Rachel, I swear. Just my daughter." "Liar." She stepped closer. "You've been leaving the garage every day." "Where do you go?" "Just walks to get fresh air." She threw the phone pieces at my feet. Plastic and glass scattered across the floor. "You think I'm stupid? You think I don't notice things?" My heart pounded, but my mind stayed clear. The phone was a decoy. The real proof was already with Catherine. The photos were sent Tuesday. The timeline was in Rachel's email Monday night. This phone let her think she found the danger. "You want to know something funny, old woman?" Vanessa's voice dropped lower. "More dangerous. That power of attorney you signed. It's not just financial. It's medical too. I can make healthcare decisions for you." Fear spread through my chest. "Medical? That's right. So if I decide you're not able to think right, if I decide you need to be in a nursing home, locked place for dementia patients, can do that. One phone call." From the doorway, David's voice came quietly. "Vanessa, shut up, David." She didn't turn. "Your mother needs to understand her position." I looked at my son, met his eyes silently. Begging him to help me. "You're my son." He looked away. That was when I knew completely. He'd chosen Vanessa over me. Not passively, actively. "Please." I let my voice shake. "Not all acting. The medical threat was real." "Sorry. I won't cause trouble." "You're right. You won't." Vanessa picked up my jacket, looked at the torn lining. "No more phones, no more walks without permission, and no more dinner tonight. You need to learn." She walked out. David followed without looking back. I stood in the mess of my searched garage, surrounded by broken phone pieces and scattered things. Slowly I fixed the mattress, picked up my jacket. The lining was destroyed, but the jacket itself was okay. Evening came. My stomach hurt with hunger. Vanessa had done what she said. No dinner, but I'd eaten at the coffee shop with Rachel and Catherine. I'd survive. Around 7, I walked to the neighbor's house. Thompson's 50 feet away. I'd known Diana and Marcus for 15 years since I moved in after my husband died. Nice couple. Kept to themselves mostly, but they'd notice things. I'd seen Diana watching from her window sometimes when Vanessa treated me badly. I knocked quietly. Diana Thompson opened the door. Her face changed instantly from surprise to worry. "Eleanor, are you all right?" "Diana, I'm sorry to bother you. I need to ask a favor." "Come in." "Come in, Marcus." "Marcus, Eleanor is here." Marcus came from the living room, took one look at me, and his face got hard. "My goodness, Eleanor, what's happened to you?" In their warm kitchen with coffee, Diana insisted on making. I explained. "Not everything. Didn't mention the lawyer yet, but enough. Vanessa had taken my phone. I needed to talk with my daughter. Family things being handled." Diana and Marcus looked at each other for a long time. Years of marriage, reading each other without words. "Eleanor," Diana said carefully, "we've been worried. We see things. How you live in that garage. It's being handled." I said, "I have help. I just need a way to talk." Marcus stood. "Decided. Use our phone anytime. Day or night. We mean it." "How long has this been going on?" Diana asked. "Month. But it's ending soon." She reached across the table, put her hand over mine. "We should have said something sooner. We should have done something. You're doing it now. That's what matters. Marcus gave me their phone number written on paper. Told me the back door was always unlocked if I needed to come over when they were out. They had a spare key under the flower pot. He told me where it was. I walked back to my garage feeling less alone than I had in months. That night from the Thompsons' house, I called Rachel. Told her about the phone Vanessa found. She laughed. Actually laughed. Mom, that phone was backup. Everything's already with Catherine. She found nothing important. She has medical power of attorney. She threatened nursing home. Rachel's voice went cold. Tell that to Catherine. She needs to know. But Mom, it doesn't matter. We're moving Friday. Medical exam Thursday. Then paperwork Friday. You hold on until then. Thursday morning. Vanessa cut my food again. Breakfast was 2 crackers. Dinner would be the same if I got dinner at all. The shower schedule changed too. Once per week now, Sundays only. She was making the cage tighter, trying to break whatever spirit she felt hadn't broken yet. But I had an appointment that day. Catherine had set it up. Medical examination at a clinic downtown. Writing down the bruises, the weight loss, the effects of Vanessa's abuse. Not just for court, for the criminal charges Catherine said were coming. I told Vanessa I was going for a walk. She watched me leave with suspicious eyes but said nothing. At the clinic, Dr. Julia Chen examined me thoroughly with questions. I answered honestly. Took pictures of the yellow and purple bruise under my eye. Weighed me. I'd lost 23 pounds in 3 months. Wrote down muscle loss. Signs of not eating enough. These are distressing signs, Mrs. Hayes, she said quietly, filling out forms. I'm required to report this. What's being done to you is abuse. It's being reported, I told her. By a lawyer. Criminal charges are coming. She handed me copies of everything. You deserve better than this. Walking back, I stopped at the Thompsons' house. Diana made me lunch. Real lunch. Sandwich and soup and fruit. Marcus sat with me while I ate. Talking about nothing important, giving me the gift of normal talk. That night, lying on my thin mattress with hunger hurting my stomach despite lunch. Thought about time. How it moves differently when you're waiting for rescue. How days feel like weeks. But I'd survived worse. Sick patients coding. No supplies. Doctors yelling. I could survive my own daughter-in-law for a little while longer. Friday morning I walked to the corner grocery store. Not because I needed groceries. The milk was just a cover. But because I needed to be there at exactly 9:15 when Rachel would happen to drive by. Vanessa watched me leave. I felt her eyes from the kitchen window, but I'd been taking walks all week. My new hobby since the phone incident. She was suspicious, but she let me go. Probably figured I had nowhere to go. No way to cause trouble. She was wrong. Rachel's Toyota pulled into the parking lot at 9:17. She got out, looked around, pretended surprise. Mom, what are you doing here? I held up the bottle of milk I'd bought with quarters. Rachel, I didn't know you were coming to town. Last-minute decision. Wanted to check on you. Her eyes found mine. Dropped to the milk. Understood everything. Let me buy you breakfast. Real breakfast. We need to talk. 20 minutes later we were at the medical clinic. Dr. Julia Chen was expecting us. Catherine had talked to her beforehand. Professional courtesy between people who deal with abuse cases regularly. Dr. Chen was thorough. She took pictures of every bruise from many angles. Medical camera catching details invisible to phone cameras. Measured my weight. 152 down from my normal 175. She tested reflexes, brain function, checked for signs of not eating enough. Mrs. Hayes, she said, typing notes. These bruises are in different stages of healing. This one is about 4 days old. This one is closer to 2 weeks. Can you tell me how you got them? I told her. Vanessa's push Wednesday. Other incidents I'd stopped counting because they blurred together. And your weight loss. Limited food. She controls when I eat. How much? She stopped typing. Looked at me directly. Professional mask slipping. Mrs. Hayes, I'm required by law to report suspected elder abuse. But I want you to know I'm not just reporting this because I have to. I'm reporting it because what I'm seeing here is clear evidence of planned abuse. No one should live like this. Her written report was 15 pages, detailed measurements, clinical observations, photographs attached. She used terms like deliberate deprivation and pattern consistent with long-term physical abuse, medical language that would carry weight in court. The weekend crawled. Catherine was finishing papers, triple-checking proof, preparing filings. Rachel stayed at a hotel but visited Saturday and Sunday bringing food, making sure I ate properly for the first time in months. Monday morning, Catherine called from the Thompsons' phone. Mrs. Hayes, the papers are filed. All 3 actions. Vanessa will be served Wednesday. What happens then? She has to respond. But more importantly, I've requested emergency temporary orders. We should hear back within 48 hours. Temporary orders. Freezing her access to your accounts. Letting you back in your house. We can't wait for the full trial. You need protection now. Wednesday afternoon, I was in the garage when I heard shouting from the house. Vanessa's voice loud and rising. Then David's high-pitched with panic. The process server had arrived. Through the window I watched it happen. Vanessa tearing open the envelope, reading. Her face going through confusion to understanding to rage. David, she yelled. He came running from the kitchen. She waved papers at him. Your mother's suing me. She got a lawyer. She's trying to take everything back. His voice carried clearly. Adult Protective Services, financial exploitation. Vanessa, this says criminal investigation. I sat on my mattress and let myself smile a little. The counterattack had started. That evening from the Thompsons' phone, I listened as Rachel described Vanessa's frantic lawyer search. Attorney after attorney, declining once they reviewed the proof. The recording was the killer. Vanessa bragging about controlling the pension, forcing me into the garage. What she thought was showing power had become confession to multiple crimes. Finally, Vanessa found someone. Attorney Brian Walker, recent graduate, solo practice, desperate for clients. Can we win? Vanessa had apparently asked. Long pause on the recording Rachel played for me. Then Walker's voice. We can try. Even her own lawyer knew they were doomed. Thursday morning I woke to my phone, the Thompsons' landline, which I'd been keeping in the garage overnight with their permission. Catherine's voice was crisp. Professional. Emergency orders granted. As of now, Vanessa's financial access is frozen. And Mrs. Hayes, you have the right to move back into your house today. I sat on the thin mattress one last time. Looked around the garage that had been my prison for 3 weeks. The hard floor, the single bulb, the window through which I'd watched my life being stolen. Then I stood, gathered my few things into a plastic bag, walked to the front door. Vanessa was in the living room. I'm moving back inside, I said. Guest bedroom. She stood. You can't just. I held up the printed court order Rachel had emailed to the Thompsons. Court order says I can. Section 2, paragraph 3. Read it if you want. Her voice went dangerous. You're making a mistake, old woman. I met her eyes. No fear anymore, just cold certainty. The only mistake I made was trusting you. That won't happen again. I walked past her to the guest bedroom, closed the door, turned the lock. The click of that lock was the sweetest sound I'd heard in months. Thursday morning, 10:15. Angela Rodriguez pulled into the driveway in a county vehicle marked Adult Protective Services. I watched from my new window, the guest bedroom window, not the garage, as Vanessa straightened her shirt, arranged her face into a welcoming look, opened the front door before she could knock. Good morning. You must be Miss Rodriguez. Welcome. Welcome. We're so glad you're here to clear up this misunderstanding. I'd seen enough performances in my nursing career. People lying to doctors after overdoses, claiming accidents when they hurt themselves on purpose for attention. Vanessa sounded exactly like that. Too helpful. Smooth. Angela Rodriguez, carrying a tablet and professional camera, didn't smile back. I'm Angela Rodriguez from Adult Protective Services. We received a complaint about the living situation here. I need to interview everyone in the household and inspect the place. David appeared. Nervous, energy radiating. Can I get you coffee, water? We want to help however we can. Angela ignored the hospitality offer. Let's begin with the garage. I understand Mrs. Hayes has been staying there. Vanessa's performance stumbled. She wanted privacy, independence. We offered her a bedroom, but she preferred, show me. They walked to the garage. I stayed in my room, listening through the wall. Heard Angela's camera clicking. Heard her voice. Cool and professional. There's no heat source, no bathroom, one mattress on hard floor. You expect me to believe a 68-year-old woman chose this over a bedroom in the house? She's stubborn. You know how elderly people can be. I know how elder abuse presents Miss Pierce. And this looks exactly like it. The kitchen table interview came next. Vanessa and David were sent to the living room. Angela knocked on my door. Mrs. Hayes, I need to speak with you privately. We sat across from each other. She set her tablet between us, started recording. Mrs. Hayes, I need you to be completely honest with me. Are you afraid of Vanessa? Has she physically harmed you? Multiple times. The most recent was last week. I touched the fading bruise under my eye. There have been others. Did you choose to live in the garage? She forced me out there 3 weeks ago. Said it was the new rule. I own this house. Paid it off 15 years ago. But she has power of attorney. She controls my pension. She controls everything. Was controlled. Past tense. She wrote rapidly. The power of attorney. Did you sign it willingly? She pressured me. Threatened to put me in a nursing home if I didn't cooperate. I was afraid. 20 minutes of questions. I answered each one with facts. Specific incidents. No making things up necessary. The truth was bad enough. After my interview, Angela spoke with Vanessa and David separately. Their stories were too coordinated, too rehearsed. I heard pieces through the walls, phrases that sounded scripted, explanations that didn't match my timeline. Then Angela left, walked next door to the Thompsons. She was there for 45 minutes. When she came back, her professional mask had cracks in it. Controlled anger underneath. She took more photographs of the garage measurements. Then she left without saying goodbye to Vanessa. Friday morning the temporary orders arrived. Rachel called me on the Thompsons' phone. Mom, check your email. Catherine sent you the court order. I was at the Thompsons' computer. Read the paper slowly. Vanessa Pierce is hereby stopped from accessing any financial accounts belonging to Eleanor Hayes. Does that mean? It means she can't touch your money. Not a dollar. And look at Section 2. Eleanor Hayes is granted immediate right to reside in her primary residence. I was already inside, but the order made it official, legal, uncontestable. What about Vanessa? She can't stop you. If she tries, she's in contempt of court. That evening David knocked on my door. His face was red from crying. Mom, can we talk? What do you want, David? How could you do this? We're your family. We took you in when I opened the door wider. Looked at my son. This man who'd watched his wife abuse me for months, said nothing. You took me in. This is my house, David. I own it. And you didn't take me in. You stole from me, starved me, forced me to sleep in a garage. It wasn't like that. Vanessa was just trying to help manage things. Family doesn't do what you did. Family doesn't stand by while their mother is abused. You made your choice, David. You chose her over me. Now live with that choice. I'm still your son. Close the door. Then you should have acted like it. The weekend passed in cold silence. Vanessa barely left her room. David cried through the walls. I stayed in the guest room, door locked, eating food Rachel brought. Getting my strength back. Catherine called Sunday afternoon. The final hearing is Friday. 1 week. Judge Harrison will hear both sides and make permanent rulings on the power of attorney, financial payback, and housing. The APS report will be part of the record. What about criminal charges? Angela's recommending prosecution. The district attorney will decide after the civil hearing. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, each day moved toward Friday. Rachel arrived Thursday night. Stayed at a hotel but came to the house early Friday morning. I walked out to her car. Vanessa was watching from the living room window. I saw the curtain move. I didn't look back. "Ready, Mom?" Rachel asked. I buckled my seat belt. The courthouse was 20 minutes away. 20 minutes until everything would be decided. "I've been ready for months," I said. "Let's finish this." Tuesday morning, Rachel parked in the courthouse visitor lot. Through the front window, I could see the Philadelphia Court of Common Pleas building. All stone and glass, big in that way government buildings are designed to be. "You ready, Mom?" Rachel asked. Was I ready? Ready to face Vanessa in front of a judge. Ready to have strangers look at my shame, my bruises, my garage mattress on a courtroom screen. "Let's go," I said. Because ready or not, this was happening. And I'd rather face it standing than hide from it beaten. Catherine was waiting outside courtroom 5. Navy suit, leather briefcase, the picture of professional confidence. She shook my hand. "Good morning. How are you feeling, Mrs. Hayes?" "Nervous." "Ready." "That's good. Nerves keep you sharp." She looked at her watch. "The judge has given us 2 hours for this hearing. I'll present our proof first. Medical, photographic, financial, and audio. Walker will try to argue back, then she'll rule. Could be today, could be next week. But given the temporary orders, I expect a decision today. Will I have to testify? Yes. But I'll be there with you. And Rachel. You won't be alone." Inside the courtroom was exactly what I expected. High ceilings, wood panels. The judge's bench raised up like an altar of justice. Vanessa sat at the defense table with Attorney Walker wearing an ill-fitting suit. David beside her, face pale. Vanessa's eyes found mine, held them for a moment, then looked away. Judge Victoria Chambers entered at exactly 10 o'clock. Late 60s. Steel gray hair. The kind of face that had seen everything twice and wasn't impressed either time. "Be seated. Miss Daniels, you may proceed with your opening statement." Catherine stood. "Thank you, Your Honor. This case is straightforward. The defendant, Vanessa Pierce, systematically exploited her mother-in-law through financial manipulation, physical abuse, and unlawful deprivation of housing. We have medical evidence, photographic evidence, financial records, witness testimony, and most damningly, an audio recording of Miss Pierce confessing to these actions." She clicked her remote. The courtroom screen lit up with Dr. Chen's medical report. Pictures of my bruises, purple, yellow, green, in various stages of healing. The judge leaned forward reading. Then came the garage photos. The thin mattress, the hard floor, the single bare bulb, the water sink. Each picture more damning than the last. Judge Chambers's face got hard. Financial records next. Bank statements marked with yellow. $7,500 moved monthly. Spending records. $42,000 for the car. $3,000 for the TV. Hundreds for expensive drinks. Then Catherine played the recording. Vanessa's voice filled the courtroom, proud and clear. "That pension belongs to me now. Control everything. Your mother signed the papers. The money's mine. The house is mine. Well, it will be. And this is where she lives now. House rules." Silence when it ended. Heavy damning silence. "Please note that recording as Exhibit D," Judge Chambers said. "Miss Daniels, is that the defendant's voice?" "Yes, Your Honor." Recorded by Rachel Bennett during a confrontation at the property. Pennsylvania is a one-party consent state. The recording is legally obtained. The judge looked at Vanessa. "Miss Pierce, is that your voice? And did you make those statements?" "It was taken out of context." "What context makes that pension belongs to me now acceptable when discussing someone else's retirement income?" Vanessa said nothing. Attorney Walker tried his defense. Power of attorney was signed voluntarily. Family dispute, not abuse. Eleanor was free to leave any time. The judge's questions destroyed each argument. "Miss Pierce, you're under oath. Did you or did you not use Mrs. Hayes's pension funds to purchase a vehicle for your personal use?" "We needed transportation." $42,000 car. Mrs. Hayes already owned a working vehicle. "Correct." "Yes. But, Did you ask her permission before spending her money? Then quietly, well, did Mrs. Hayes live in the garage by her own choice? It was complicated. Space issues. In a 3-bedroom house occupied by 3 people. Try again. Silence. Let me be more direct. Did you tell Mrs. Hayes she had to live in the garage? Very quietly. The judge sat back, studied Vanessa for a long moment. I've heard enough evidence to make my ruling. Miss Pierce, Mr. Hayes, please stand. They stood. David was shaking. I find that the power of attorney was obtained through pressure and threats. Even if it had been signed voluntarily. The later use constitutes financial exploitation under Pennsylvania law. The power of attorney is hereby voided in its entirety, effective immediately. Let it sink in. Furthermore, I find that Miss Pierce took approximately $28,000 of Mrs. Hayes's pension funds. Restitution in that amount is ordered. Payable within 90 days. David whispered something I couldn't hear. Third, regarding the housing situation. Mrs. Hayes is the lawful owner of the property. Miss and Mr. Hayes are hereby ordered to vacate the premises within 48 hours. Failure to comply will result in law enforcement assistance. Vanessa's face went pale. 48 hours. That's Thursday at noon. Finally, I am issuing a protection from abuse order. Miss and Mr. Hayes are prohibited from contacting Mrs. Hayes or coming within 500 feet of her person or property. Long pause. One more thing. The evidence presented here suggests criminal conduct, specifically financial exploitation of an older adult, which is a felony in Pennsylvania. I am referring this matter to the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office for review and potential prosecution. The gavel struck. Court is adjourned. In the hallway, David approached me, crying, "Mom, please. We didn't mean." I stepped back. "Don't. Just don't. We'll pay you back. We'll make this right. You had months to make it right. You chose not to." Rachel moved between us. The judge issued a no-contact order. "You need to leave." Vanessa pulled David away, her voice angry. "This isn't over." Catherine stepped forward. "Miss Pierce, it is. And if you violate that protection order, you'll be arrested. I suggest you spend the next 48 hours packing, not making threats." We walked out into afternoon sunlight. The contrast was sharp. From the dim courtroom to bright August day. From testimony to victory. Catherine shook my hand on the courthouse steps. "You'll receive the written order within 24 hours. Enforcement begins immediately. If they're not out by Thursday noon, call the police." Rachel hugged me. "It's over, Mom. You won." Not quite over. Vanessa and David had 48 hours to pack and leave. Thursday at noon, I'd walk back into my home, truly mine again. But standing there on those courthouse steps, breathing free air, knowing the judge had seen the truth and ruled in my favor, that felt like winning. Tuesday evening, we sat in Rachel's hotel room. Catherine had gone home, but she'd left us with copies of the court order, highlighted sections marking our victories. "You should stay here until they're gone," Rachel said. "I've already paid for the room through Friday." He nodded. I wasn't afraid of Vanessa anymore. The court had stopped her, but I didn't want to watch her pack. Didn't want to share space with her for even one more night. "Thursday noon," I said, reading the order again. "They have to be out by Thursday noon. 2 more days. Can wait 2 more days." Wednesday afternoon, I drove past the house. Saw boxes through the windows. Chaos of frantic packing. David spotted me from the living room, came outside, face wet with tears. "Mom, please, can we talk?" I kept the car running but rolled down the window. "What is there to say, David?" "Sorry. I know I should have stopped her. I should have protected you." "You're right. You should have. You made your choice when you let her put me in that garage. When you stood by and watched her starve me. I was scared. Vanessa, she controlled everything. I didn't know how to. I was scared too. I was 68 years old being beaten and starved. And you're my son. You should have helped me. No. I'm so sorry. I love you, David. You're still my son, but the trust is broken. Maybe someday we can repair it. But right now, I need you to leave my house and let me heal. Understand. Goodbye, David. I drove away without looking back. Thursday at 11:45, Rachel and I stood in the driveway. At 11:52, a U-Haul pulled out. Vanessa driving. David in the passenger seat. Both staring straight ahead. The truck disappeared around the corner. Silence. Then I walked to the front door. My door. Put in my key. Stepped inside. The house was empty of their presence. Keys on the kitchen counter. Rooms cleared. The silence was different now. Not scary but peaceful. Welcome home, Mom, Rachel said behind me. Friday became fix everything day. The locksmith came at 9. Changed every lock. Front door, back door, garage, basement. I put the new keys in my pocket. The old keys are useless now, the locksmith said. Said. I want her to have nothing that works here anymore. At the bank, the manager closed my old accounts, opened new ones with two-step verification. Even if Miss Pierce tried to show the old power of attorney, our system would flag it immediately. It's really over then. From a banking perspective, yes, ma'am. Your money is yours again. Security cameras came next. Front door, back door, motion sensors. The technician showed me the monitoring app on my phone. You can see who's at your door before you answer, he explained. Layer by layer, I took back control. Physical security, financial security, peace of mind. Saturday morning, the Thompsons arrived with a still warm blueberry pie. Welcome home, Eleanor, Marcus said. Properly home. Thank you for the pie and for everything. For testifying, for letting me use your phone, for caring. We should have done more sooner, Diana said. You did enough. You did what mattered. We sat in my living room. My living room again. Sharing coffee and pie. Talking about normal things, weather, neighborhood gossip, the upcoming street fair. Normal conversation. A gift I hadn't realized I'd lost until I had it back. After they left, Rachel and I sat together in comfortable silence. I held my coffee in my favorite mug, the one I'd found in the back of the cabinet where David had hidden it. On the mantel, an old family photo. My late husband Richard, young David, teenage Rachel, all smiling, all together. A family that no longer existed in that form, but whose love still shaped who I'd become. How are you feeling, Mom? Really? Tired? Relieved? Strange? Strange how? I'm in my own house, drinking coffee from my own cup, sitting in my own chair. Things that were normal 6 months ago feel like luxuries now. They should never have been taken from you. No, they shouldn't have. You know what I keep thinking about? 40 years I spent taking care of sick people, saving people. And I never thought that someday I'd need to save myself from my own family. But you did save yourself. You fought back. You won. I did. With your help. I looked at her. What you did. Coming when you did, believing me. Finding Catherine. I couldn't have done it alone. You shouldn't have had to do it at all. But I'm proud of you, Mom. Standing up to Vanessa, gathering proof, going through that hearing. That took courage. I smiled a little. Even at 68 you can still be strong. You can still fight. You can still win. What's next for you? Living. Just living in my house with my pension. On my terms. That's enough. 1 month later the mail brought news. First, a formal notification. Vanessa Pierce charged with felony financial exploitation, facing 2 to 4 years in prison. Second, a handwritten letter. David's careful handwriting. Dear Mom, I know this letter can't fix what I did. I know sorry isn't enough, but I need you to know. I cooperated with the prosecutors. I told them everything. They offered me probation if I testified against Vanessa, and I took it. Vanessa's facing prison now. I'm ashamed it took losing everything to see what she was. What I let her do to you. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it, but I hope someday, maybe years from now, we might talk again. I love you, Mom. I always did. David. I read it twice, then folded it carefully and placed it in my desk drawer. Not thrown away. Not answered yet, just saved for later, for someday. For when I was ready. Maybe we'd talk again, maybe we wouldn't. I decide on my own timeline. That evening, I sat in my living room as the sun set. My house, my chair, my life. Outside, the Thompsons were working in their garden. A couple walked their dog past my driveway. Normal suburban evening. I'd spent 3 months in that garage. 3 months afraid, hungry, humiliated. But I'd survived. More than survived. I'd fought back and won. The pension was mine. The house was mine. The dignity was mine. And sitting there in the peaceful silence of my restored life, that was everything. 2 months after the court hearing, I got a call from Catherine. Eleanor, I have news. The district attorney's office has formally charged Vanessa Pierce. Trial date is set for 3 months from now. Will I have to testify? But I'll be there with you. And Rachel, you won't be alone. I thought about it, about facing Vanessa again in another courtroom, about telling my story one more time. Okay, I said. I'll do it. I want to make sure she can't do this to anyone else. That's exactly the right reason, Catherine said. The trial came faster than I expected. Winter had arrived. Cold mornings, early darkness, but my house was warm. My life was peaceful. Rachel came down from Boston the night before. We had dinner together. Just the two of us. Chicken and vegetables, nothing fancy, but sitting at my own table in my own kitchen, eating food I'd bought with my own money. That was everything. The courtroom was different this time. More formal, more serious. A jury sat in the box. 12 people who would decide Vanessa's fate. The prosecutor was a woman named Rebecca Foster, mid-40s, sharp eyes. She'd met with me twice before. Prepared me for what to expect. Mrs. Hayes, Rebecca said, when it was my turn to testify. Can you tell the jury how you met Vanessa Pierce? She married my son, David, about 5 years ago. And when did she first suggest taking control of your finances? May of last year. She said she wanted to help. Said it would make things easier. I went through the whole story again. The power of attorney, the stolen pension, the garage, the bruises, the hunger. Rebecca showed the jury the photos, the medical reports, the bank statements, the recording. Vanessa sat at the defense table, face blank, eyes empty. Her new lawyer provided by the court tried to argue that it was a misunderstanding, family dispute, that Vanessa had meant well, but the evidence was overwhelming. The jury deliberated for 2 hours. When they came back, the forewoman stood. On the count of financial exploitation of an elderly person. How do you find? Guilty. On the count of theft. How do you find? Guilty. On the count of unlawful restraint. How do you find? Guilty. Vanessa's face crumpled. She started crying, but I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no revenge, just relief. It's really over now. The judge sentenced her 6 weeks later. 3 years in state prison, restitution of $28,000, 5 years probation after release. Vanessa Pierce, Judge Chambers said, you took advantage of a vulnerable woman who trusted you. You stole her money. You abused her physically. You forced her to live in conditions no human being should endure. Your actions were calculated, cruel, and criminal. I hope you use your time in prison to reflect on what you've done. Court is adjourned. I walked out of that courtroom with Rachel beside me. The winter sun was bright, cold, clean. It's really over, Rachel said. Yes, I said. It's really over. Spring came. Then summer. Life settled into a new normal. I joined a book club at the library, started volunteering at the community center, teaching young people how to do basic first aid, using my nursing skills again. The Thompsons became closer friends. We had dinner together once a week, played cards, laughed about silly things. Rachel visited once a month, sometimes brought her kids. My grandchildren. They loved sleeping in the guest room. The same room I'd hidden in when Vanessa controlled my house. But now it was filled with laughter, joy, with life. One afternoon in July, almost a year after the trial, I got a call from the prison. An automated message. This is a call from an inmate at State Correctional Institution. To accept charges, press 1. I stared at the phone. Vanessa calling from prison. My finger hovered over the button. Then I pressed end call, deleted the voicemail notification. I didn't need to hear her voice. Didn't need her apology. Didn't need anything from her. I was free. That was enough. Another month passed. Then I got a letter from David, not asking for anything, just updating me. He'd gotten a job, warehouse work, nothing fancy but honest work. He'd moved into a small apartment, was going to therapy, learning about codependency, about enabling, about the mistakes he'd made. "I'm not asking you to forgive me," he wrote. "I just wanted you to know I'm trying to be better, trying to understand how I let things get so bad. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. But I understand if you don't. I love you, Mom. Always have, always will. David." I read the letter 3 times. Then I picked up the phone. It rang 4 times before he answered. "Hello." His voice was tentative. "Tired." "David," I said. Silence. Then a sound like crying. We talked for an hour about his therapy, his job, his life. I didn't forgive him. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But I listened, and that was a start. Fall came again. 1 year since the court hearing. 1 year since I'd taken back my life. I sat in my living room chair, same house, but everything was different. I was different. Stronger, clearer, free. The doorbell rang. I checked the security camera. Rachel with her kids carrying bags of groceries. "Surprise, Mom," she called through the door. "We're making dinner." I opened the door, let them in. The house filled with noise, with laughter, with love. My granddaughter hugged me. "Grandma, can I sleep in the guest room tonight?" "Course, sweetheart." We made spaghetti together, garlic bread, salad. The kitchen smelled amazing. We ate at the table, my table, talked about school, about work, about life. After dinner we played games. Monopoly, then cards. The kids won every time, but I didn't mind. This was winning. This moment, this life, this freedom. Later, after the kids were in bed, Rachel and I sat on the couch. "Thank you," I said. "For what?" "For saving me. For believing me. For fighting for me." She took my hand. "You saved yourself, Mom. I just helped." We sat in comfortable silence. Outside, the streetlights came on. The world kept turning. But in my house, in my life, everything was exactly as it should be. 2 years after everything happened, I got another letter from Vanessa from prison. I almost threw it away without reading it, but something made me open it. "Dear Eleanor, I don't expect you to read this. I don't expect you to care, but I need to say it anyway. Sorry. I'm sorry for what I did, for how I treated you, for the pain I caused. There's no excuse for it. I was greedy, selfish, cruel. I see that now. Prison has given me a lot of time to think, to understand what I became, what I did to you. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I know I don't deserve it. I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry, and that I hope you're happy now, living the life you deserve, the life I tried to steal from you. I'm truly sorry. Vanessa." I read the letter twice. Then I folded it, put it in the drawer with David's letters. Maybe someday I'd respond. Maybe I wouldn't. But for now I had everything I needed. My house, my pension, my dignity, my life. And sitting there in the peaceful silence of my living room, I realized something. One. Not because Vanessa was in prison, not because I got my money back, but because I'd survived and fought back. I'd refused to be broken. At 68 years old, I'd learned that it's never too late to stand up for yourself, to fight for what's yours, to reclaim your life. The doorbell rang again. I checked the camera. David holding flowers. I hadn't seen him in person since the trial. My finger hovered over the intercom button. Then I pressed it. "Come in," I said. The door opened. He stepped inside. Older, thinner. Eyes red. "Mom," he said quietly. "I brought these for you." He held out the flowers. "Lilies. My favorite." "Thank you," I said. We stood there for a moment. Then he spoke. "I don't expect you to forgive me. I just wanted to see you, tell you in person how sorry I am." I took the flowers, put them in a vase. "Would you like some coffee?" He looked surprised. "Really? Really?" We sat at the kitchen table, talked carefully about small things, his job, his apartment, his therapy. Nothing deep, nothing painful. Not yet. But it was a start. When he left an hour later, I walked him to the door. "Thanks for seeing me, Mom. You're still my son, David. That hasn't changed, but trust has to be earned back. Slowly. Understand." He hugged me carefully like I might break, but I didn't break. I was stronger than I'd ever been. 3 years after everything started, 5 years after Vanessa first moved into my house, I sat in my living room on a quiet Sunday evening. The house was peaceful. The bills were paid. The pension was mine. The locks were changed. The security cameras were working. Everything was exactly as it should be. I thought about the garage, about the cold concrete floor, the thin mattress, the hunger, the fear, the bruises. It felt like a lifetime ago, like it had happened to a different person. In a way it had. That Eleanor was gone. Broken, scared, helpless. This Eleanor was different. Strong, clear, free. I'd survived something terrible, and I'd come out the other side. Not just surviving but thriving. The phone rang. Rachel. Just checking in. I'm good, sweetheart. Really good. You sound happy. We talked for a few minutes, then said goodbye. I hung up and looked around my living room, my house, my life, my peace. I'd spent 40 years taking care of other people. And when I needed help, when I was at my lowest, my daughter had taken care of me. That was what family was supposed to do. Not what Vanessa did, not what David allowed, but what Rachel did. Believe, protect, love. I picked up the photo from the mantel. My late husband Richard, young David, teenage Rachel, all smiling. That family was gone. But a new family existed now. Smaller, different, but real. Rachel and her kids, the Thompsons, Catherine, even David, slowly, carefully finding his way back. Maybe someday Vanessa too, though I doubted it. Some betrayals cut too deep to heal. But that was okay. I didn't need her apology. Didn't need her regret. I had everything I needed right here in this house, in this life, in this peace. I made myself a cup of tea, sat in my chair, turned on the television. A normal evening, peaceful evening, an evening that was mine. The doorbell rang. I checked the camera. Delivery person with a package. Opened the door. Package for Eleanor Hayes. That's me. Same here. Sign. Took the package. Closed the door. It was from Rachel. I opened it carefully. Inside was a blanket, warm, beautiful, and a note. Mom, I saw this and thought of you. Cozy, comfortable, everything you deserve. Love always, Rachel. I held the blanket, wrapped it around my shoulders, sat back in my chair, and for the first time in years, maybe the first time since my husband died, I felt truly at peace. The journey had been long. The pain had been real. The fear had been overwhelming, but I'd made it through. And sitting there in my living room, wrapped in my daughter's blanket, in my own house, with my own life, my own peace, I realized something important. One. Not because Vanessa was in prison, not because I got my money back. Not because the judge ruled in my favor, but because I'd survived and fought back. I'd refused to be broken. I'd reclaimed my dignity, my independence, my life. And that was the greatest victory of all. 4 years after everything happened, I got a call from Catherine. Eleanor, I wanted to let you know Vanessa's being released early. Good behavior, probation. She'll be out next month. How do you feel about that? Thought about it. Searched my feelings and realized something surprising. I don't care, I said. She can't hurt me anymore. Catherine was quiet for a moment. That's growth, Eleanor. That's healing. We talked for a few more minutes, then hung up. I sat in my chair, thought about Vanessa, about everything she'd done, and felt nothing. No anger, no fear, no hatred, just indifference. She was part of my past. A painful part of my past, and I was firmly in my present, living my life on my terms. That evening I called David. We'd been talking more regularly, slowly rebuilding. I heard Vanessa's getting out next month. How do you feel about it? Honestly. Free. Because she can't touch me anymore. I've got my house, my money, my life, and she's got nothing. He was quiet. I'm proud of you, Mom, for how you handled all this. For how strong you've been. Thank you. That means a lot. We talked for a while longer, then said goodbye. I made dinner. Chicken and rice. Simple. Ate at my table, watched television, read a book. Normal things, peaceful things, mine things. And sitting there in my living room, as the sun set and the street lights came on, I realized I'd come full circle. From victim to survivor, from broken to whole, from scared to free. The garage was just a garage now. Not a prison, not a symbol, just a place where I kept tools and boxes. Vanessa was just a woman, not a monster, not a villain, just someone who'd made terrible choices and paid the price. David was just my son, imperfect, trying, slowly earning back trust. And I was just me, Eleanor. 69 years old, retired nurse, survivor, fighter, free woman, living in my house with my pension on my terms. And that was enough. That was everything. The next morning, I woke up to sunshine streaming through my bedroom window. My bedroom in my house. Got up slowly, made coffee, sat at my kitchen table, looked out at the backyard. The grass needed mowing. The flowers needed watering. Normal things, beautiful things. The doorbell rang. I checked the camera. Diana and Marcus Thompson with coffee cake. Opened the door. Good morning, Eleanor. We thought you might like some breakfast. Come in. Come in. We sat at my table. Shared coffee cake, talked about the neighborhood, about our plans for the week, about nothing and everything. Normal friendship, normal life. And as we laughed and talked and enjoyed the morning together, I realized something important. This was victory. Not the courtroom, not the judge's ruling, not Vanessa's prison sentence, but this. This moment, this peace, this life, this freedom. I'd survived the worst, fought back, won. And now I was living. Really living. On my own terms, in my own home, with my own peace. And sitting there at my kitchen table, surrounded by friends, drinking coffee in the morning sunshine, I knew with absolute certainty that I'd finally, truly, completely won. The following week, I received an invitation in the mail. The community center was hosting a volunteer appreciation dinner. They wanted to honor me for my work teaching first aid classes. I stood in front of my closet that evening, looking at my clothes. Real clothes, not the same worn outfit I'd cycled through in the garage. I chose a navy dress, simple but elegant. Put on earrings, applied lipstick, looked at myself in the mirror. The woman staring back was different from the one who'd lived in that garage. Fuller face, clear eyes, confident posture. This was who I really was. Not the broken woman Vanessa had tried to create, but the strong woman I'd always been. At the dinner, people came up to me. Students I'd taught. Parents thanking me for giving their teenagers life-saving skills. The community center director gave a speech about my contributions. Eleanor Hayes, she said, represents the best of what our community can be. She's someone who spent her entire career helping others, and now in retirement, she continues to give back. But what many of you may not know is that Eleanor is also a survivor. She faced incredible challenges, but she never gave up. She fought for herself and she won. And now she's here, helping others learn how to be strong in emergencies, just like she was. The room applauded. I stood, smiled, waved. Rachel had driven down from Boston for the event. She was crying in the back row, proud tears. That night, driving home with Rachel, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Pride. Not arrogance, just simple pride in who I was, what I'd survived, what I'd become. You were amazing tonight, Mom, Rachel said. Thank you, sweetheart. But you know what? I realized something up there. What's that? I'm not defined by what Vanessa did to me. I'm defined by how I responded. By the fact that I got back up, that I fought back, that I rebuilt. That's who I am. Rachel reached over, squeezed my hand. That's exactly who you are. 5 years after it all began, I sat in my living room on the anniversary. Not of the abuse. I didn't mark that date anymore. But the anniversary of the court hearing. The day I officially won my life back. The doorbell rang. I checked the camera and smiled. David stood there with a small gift bag. I'd been expecting him. Come in, I called. He entered, looking nervous but hopeful. We'd been rebuilding slowly. Monthly coffee dates, phone calls, therapy sessions together with a family counselor. The trust was coming back piece by piece. Happy Freedom Day, Mom, he said quietly. It's what I call it. The day you got your life back. I took the gift bag. Inside was a framed photo I'd never seen before. It was me, much younger, in my nurse's uniform at the hospital. I was laughing at something off camera, my face bright and happy. Where did you find this? Kept it, he said. All these years. Even when things were bad. I kept it because it reminded me of who you really are. Strong. Happy. Free. He paused. I'm sorry it took me so long to remember that. To help you be that again. I set the photo on the mantel, next to the family picture. Thank you, David. We sat together, talked for hours. He told me about his therapy, about understanding the patterns of abuse he'd enabled, about learning to set boundaries. I'm dating someone new, he said carefully. She's nothing like Vanessa. Is kind. She has her own job, her own money. She keeps encouraging me to rebuild things with you. I'd like to meet her, I said. When you're ready. Really. We're family. We're broken, but we're healing. That's enough. He hugged me when he left. A real hug, not the careful, scared ones from before. Mom, he said at the door. I know I don't say this enough, but I'm proud of you. For fighting back. For surviving. For being stronger than any of us. I'm proud to be your son, even if I didn't act like it when it mattered most. That night, I added the new photo to my mantle. Young Eleanor in her uniform. Old family photo with Richard and the kids. New photo of Rachel's family. David's therapy graduation certificate he'd given me last month. Timeline of love, loss, pain, and healing. All of it part of my story. All of it making me who I was. 6 months later, Vanessa was released from prison. I knew because David called to tell me. He's out, Mom. She's not allowed to contact you, but I thought you should know. How do you feel? Asked him. Relieved I'm not with her anymore, he said. I see clearly now what she was. What I let happen. That day, I did something I hadn't planned. I wrote a letter. Not to Vanessa. But to other women who might be going through what I went through. I contacted a local elder abuse prevention organization and offered to share my story. Within a month, I was speaking at support groups. Standing in front of rooms full of older adults. Telling them what happened to me. Warning them about the signs. Power of attorney that feels rushed. Family members who isolate them. Financial control disguised as help. I told them about the garage. About the hunger. About thinking I was helpless. And then I told them how I fought back. How I documented everything. How my daughter believed me. How the legal system worked when I had evidence. You're not alone, I told them. You're not helpless. And it's never too late to fight back. After one presentation, an 72-year-old woman came up to me, crying. My grandson, she whispered. He's been taking my Social Security. Says he's helping me, but my account is always empty. Do you have proof? Yes. She nodded. Bank statements. I've been hiding them. But pulled out my phone. Let me give you Catherine Daniels's number. She's a lawyer who specializes in this. And you're going to call her today. The woman gripped my hand. Thank you. You saved my life tonight. No, I said gently. I'm just showing you that you can save yourself. 7 years after it all started, 3 years after Vanessa's release, I received an unexpected letter. The return address was one I didn't recognize. Inside was a short note. Eleanor, you don't know me, but I wanted to thank you. My name is Patricia. I'm Vanessa Pierce's cellmate from prison. She talked about you constantly. First, it was all anger. You'd ruined her life, taken everything from her. But over time, something changed. She started to see what she'd done. Started to understand. She made me promise that if I ever got out, I'd write to you. Not to ask for forgiveness. She knows she doesn't deserve that. But to tell you that your story, your strength changed someone. Me. I was in prison for doing the same thing to my mother. Taking her money. Abusing her trust. Hearing Vanessa talk about what she'd lost, what she'd destroyed, it woke me up. When I got out 6 months ago, I went to my mother. I confessed everything. I'm paying her back. We're in therapy together. I'll never get back what I lost, but I'm trying to be better. Thank you for being strong enough to fight back. Thank you for making Vanessa face what she'd done. And in doing that, thank you for saving my mother. Patricia. I read the letter 3 times. Then I put it in my desk drawer with the others. Vanessa's apology. David's updates. Rachel's notes. All pieces of a complicated story. That evening Rachel called. How are you, Mom? I'm good, sweetheart. I got an interesting letter today. I told her about Patricia. That's incredible, Rachel said. Your strength rippled out, changed more lives than just your own. I never thought about it that way, I said. But maybe that's why it all happened. So I could help others. Maybe, Rachel said. Or maybe it just happened and you chose to make something good from it. Either way, I'm proud of you. 8 years after it began, I sat in my living room with a box of old photos. I was making a scrapbook for my grandchildren, a record of my life. I included the hard parts. Photos of the garage floor I'd taken as evidence. Copies of court documents. Pictures from the support groups I now ran. Why are you including the bad stuff, Grandma? My oldest granddaughter asked. She was 14 now, curious and thoughtful. Because it's part of the story, I told her. And I want you to know that bad things can happen to good people. But bad things don't have to define you. What defines you is what you do next. Did you ever forgive Uncle David? She asked. I'm working on it, I said honestly. Forgiveness is complicated. It's not a single moment. It's a choice you make over and over. Some days are easier than others. What about Vanessa? I don't think I'll ever forgive her, I said. But I've let go of the anger. She can't hurt me anymore. That's enough. My granddaughter thought about this. You're really brave, Grandma. Smiled. I'm really stubborn. There's a difference. 9 years later, I received news that Vanessa had died. Heart attack. She was 52. David called to tell me. I don't know how I'm supposed to feel, he said. She destroyed so much, but she was my wife for years. It's okay to feel complicated, I said. People aren't all good or all bad. Vanessa did terrible things, but she was still a person. You're allowed to mourn. Will you come to the funeral? Yes. Thought about it. No, I said gently. That's your grief, not mine. I've moved past her. But I support you in handling it however you need to. Thank you, Mom, for understanding. That week I did something for myself instead. I took a trip to the beach with Rachel and her family. Watched my grandchildren play in the waves. Ate ice cream. Laughed until my sides hurt. This was my memorial. Not for Vanessa, but for the woman I used to be. The one who'd suffered. The one who'd fought back. The one who'd rebuilt. I was honoring her by living fully. By being free. 10 years after it all began, I celebrated my 78th birthday. My living room was full of people. Rachel and her family. David and his new wife Maria, who I'd grown to love. The Thompsons. Catherine Daniels. Dr. Julia Chin. Angela Rodriguez. Women from my support group. People whose lives had touched mine, who had helped me, who I had helped in return. We ate cake. Told stories. Laughed. At one point, Rachel stood up to make a toast. To my mom, she said. The strongest person I know. 10 years ago you were living in a garage, afraid and alone. Today you're surrounded by love. You've helped dozens of women escape abuse. You've rebuilt relationships. You've shown all of us what resilience looks like. Everyone raised their glasses. To Eleanor. I looked around the room. Every person there represented a piece of my journey. Pain. The fight. The victory. The healing. Thank you, I said. All of you. For believing me. For helping me. For letting me help you. For being my family, the family I chose and the family that chose to be better. David stood then. Can I say something? He nodded. Mom, he said, his voice shaking. I know I don't deserve to be here. I know I failed you when you needed me most. But you gave me a second chance. You let me earn back your trust. And I want you to know that I spend every day trying to be worthy of that gift. You taught me that people can change, that relationships can heal, that it's never too late to do better. I love you, Mom. And I'm sorry. The room was quiet. Then I stood, walked over to my son, hugged him. I love you too, David. We're not perfect, but we're trying. That's enough. Later that night, after everyone left, I sat in my favorite chair. The house was messy from the party. Dishes in the sink. Wrapping paper on the floor. Evidence of celebration. Evidence of life. I looked at the photos on my mantle. Young Eleanor in her nurse uniform. Family photos spanning decades. Court documents framed as reminders. Pictures of my grandchildren. New memories replacing old pain. 10 years ago, I was sleeping on a garage floor, starving, broken, believing I was helpless. Tonight, I was 78 years old, surrounded by love, helping others, living on my own terms. I'd survived. I'd fought. I'd won. And sitting there in my peaceful home, in my peaceful life, I realized something profound. Vanessa had tried to take everything from me. My money, my home, my dignity, my family, my life. But she couldn't take the one thing that mattered most. She couldn't take who I was. I was still Eleanor Hayes. Still a nurse. Still a mother. Still a fighter. Still strong. And I would be until my last breath. The garage door had closed long ago. But the door to my life, that door was wide open. And I was walking through it every single day. Free. Strong. Whole.